Welcome to The Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. Could Cuomo's sexual allegations be a smokescreen to divert attention away from the reported 15,000 nursing home deaths? The Mexican tycoon Carlos Slim is the New York Times' largest shareholder, and he has deep business connections to the CCP. Why is the Biden administration set to meet with CCP diplomats in Anchorage, Alaska? Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. A Michigan judge ruled that Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson broke state laws during the 2020 election. The rule legitimized a key claim from the Trump campaign that Article 2 of the Constitution requires state legislatures to make rules governing presidential elections, not any state election officials. In the past election cycle, Benson issued several one-sided orders related to absentee ballots. One of the orders was sending absentee ballot applications to all registered voters. Benson also issued a guidance on how to evaluate absentee ballots. In the guidance, a vote counter could determine the vote signature was valid with slight similarities. But this move is a clear violation of the Administration Procedures Act, which is the authorized source for signature matching standards. Benson must work with the state's legislature if she wants to make changes. Michigan State Representative Matt Hall said the legislature is an equal branch of government charged with crafting laws. This is not the role of the Secretary of State, and there is a clear process that must be respected. Benson also pushed an aggressive voting by absentee ballot practice in the name of the COVID-19 pandemic. In May 2020, she pulled $4.5 million from the original coronavirus stimulus called CARES Act to send absentee ballot applications to all voters in the state. Out of a possible 7.7 million voter base, Michigan got 3.1 million absentee ballots. That's as high as 40%. In 2016, the percentage was only 23%. Some Americans say the ruling came in too late. Justice delayed is justice denied. Not one judge would hear the evidence when it mattered. The misquoted conversation between former President Trump and Georgia election investigators, which the mainstream media reported on, points to a sole source, Jordan Fuchs, Georgia's Deputy Secretary of State. After the office of Brad Raffensperger, Georgia's Secretary of State released the original phone recording early March. The Washington Post quietly corrected its report last Thursday, March 11th. However, evidence of the mainstream media's fake news will never go unnoticed no matter how hard they try. By March 16th, the made-up Georgia call story appeared in headlines in all conservative news networks and drawed mounting criticism from Republicans. We reported the story with more details in yesterday's episode. I have put a link of the show in the description for you. In its correction, the Post cast the blame to the Deputy Secretary of State. It said the initial January reporting was, quote, based on information provided by a source, and then it outed Jordan Fuchs as the source. Raffensperger's office now explains the falsified quotes were due to Fuchs not presenting the conversation as verbatim in January. A spokesperson of the office said, the Secretary of State's office first reports of its investigators' phone conversation with President Trump relied on the investigators' recollection. Information about the content of the call was never presented as a word-for-word transcript. But the key question remained, why didn't Raffensperger's office correct the fake report in January? Why did the office wait so long and only release the recording in March? Truth-seeking Americans deserve an answer. A week ago, we revealed American legacy cable news companies' ties with the Chinese Communist Party. In light of the recent disclosure of the fake Georgia phone call, it's time to expose the two legacy press media, the New York Times and the Washington Post. The largest shareholder of the New York Times is Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim, who owns 17% of the press. Being the press's biggest investor, Slim votes for approximately one-third of the company's board. In 2017, Slim's Giant Motors joined ventures with China's Jianghai automobile company and began manufacturing cars in Mexico to sell to Latin Americans. Now, according to a Forbes report, selling the cars to Latin America helped Beijing to get away with Trump's anti-free trade, America First policies. In 2020, another one of Slim's companies, America Mobile, teamed up with China's telecom giant Huawei to build out a 5G network for the Colombian government. Huawei has long been suspected of the CCP's espionage activities overseas. Last Friday, the Federal Communications Commission deemed Huawei a threat to U.S. national security. The Mexican tycoon Carlos Slim has been making all kinds of lucrative business deals with the CCP while influencing the business side of the New York Times as its largest shareholder. Even though Slim may not manage the editorial force directly, employees of the press certainly know who is paying their salaries. March 9th, the New York Times published an article containing incorrect information about the Epoch Times. This was not the first time that the legacy paper published false information about the Epoch Times. In October 2020, the New York Times published a headline article stating numerous false accusations against the Epoch Times. Now, why did they do that? The Epoch Times was funded by Chinese Americans who fled communist China and had firsthand experienced its horror. In its latest article, the New York Times suggests the Epoch Times' regular anti-Chinese Communist Party content were an example of its misleading information. Americans and society in general benefit tremendously from the Epoch Times' factual and exclusive reporting on the CCP. The New York Times' attack on its competitor only protects the interest of the communist regime in Beijing and not the American people. In 2013, Amazon CEO and billionaire Jeff Bezos purchased the Washington Post for $250 million. In January 2016, Bezos laid out a new business plan for the Post aimed at incorporating more technology. Bezos' Amazon does massive business in the China market, which is regulated by the CCP. It bought its way into the China market in 2004 with a takeover of Joyo.com, a popular online seller of books, for about $75 million. Although Amazon struggled to gain its share in the Chinese e-commerce market and finally exited in 2018, the production of Amazon's featured products, including the Amazon Echo speaker and Kindle e-reader, take place almost exclusively in Chinese factories. In a 2018 report by Newsweek, a 9-month investigation into a Chinese factory that produces Amazon products revealed Chinese laborers worked insanely long hours, 100 hours per week, under unsafe conditions. After years of doing business in the Chinese market, Bezos' ties with China are now evident in the Washington Post advertisement section. When you purchase a Washington Post subscription, it comes with an advertising supplement called China Watch. As a courtesy of China Daily, a CCP state-run media, the Washington Post openly accepts money for advertisement from the CCP and distributes their propaganda. Now, if you want to keep hearing real news that the mainstream media will not tell you about, please consider donating to the show. Our donor box link is in the description. Also, to get this information out to as many people as possible, please like and share the video. I also want to thank all of you who support us every day. It is our absolute pleasure to be able to deliver news that matters. Okay, my friends, let's get back to the show. On Monday, the White House confirmed Joe Biden will continue working with Governor Andrew Cuomo despite a series of sexual harassment accusations and the cover-up of nursing home deaths. They said the focus of the Biden administration is addressing the coronavirus. Press Secretary John Psaki said, "We don't want the people of New York or any state to be impacted negatively. We will continue to work with a range of governors, including Governor Cuomo, who I would expect will join the call tomorrow." Cuomo is still the head of the National Governors Association and leads the weekly coronavirus response call with the White House. Psaki said, "New developments seem to be happening every day. We find them troubling. The president finds them troubling, hard to read." She also mentioned Attorney General Letitia James' investigation into Cuomo's sexual misconduct. However, she said that the future of Cuomo depends on the National Governors Association. On Sunday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Cuomo should look inside his heart to decide if he should resign. Look inside his heart to find what? More instances of sexual harassment and cover-ups? As of Monday, 16 out of 19 New York House delegates have called on Cuomo to resign over the growing number of allegations. Siena College in New York conducted a survey with 805 New Yorkers. The results showed a full 50% don't want Cuomo to resign. By a 34 to 48% margin, New Yorkers believe he can still do his job effectively. 1/3 would re-elect him for another term. By a 32 to 57% margin, New Yorkers are positive about Cuomo's pandemic performance with one exception. 66% think he failed to make all data about COVID-related deaths of nursing home patients public, while 27% believe he did. Breitbart published an article saying at least the media failed to affect public opinion even in left-wing states like New York. But the media did succeed, yes. They succeeded in a different way. Soon after Cuomo's nursing home scandal was broken, sexual allegations began popping up and continued up until now. Let me spell this out to you. The first time the nursing home scandal came up was January 28th, when New York Attorney General Letitia James released a damning report accusing the New York State Health Department of undercounting nursing home deaths by as much as 50%. The next day, Cuomo and health officials responded, saying they separated nursing home deaths from nursing home residents who died at hospitals because of concerns about double counting, but insisted the total numbers of death was always accurate. On February 12th, Secretary to the Governor, Melissa DeRosa, came under fire after telling Democratic lawmakers the administration delayed responding to a request for nursing home data in August because they feared it would be used against us by then President Donald Trump. On February 24th, mainstream media were all pumped to report on the sexual harassment allegations from Lindsey Boylan, Cuomo's former aide. She published an article to explain her experience. However, when Boylan first broke the allegations in December, not much media paid attention. At that time, the media were very careful about exposing the New York King. February 27th was the second woman. March 1st was the third, and by March 12th, 7 women had come out to accuse Cuomo. On March 8th, New York Attorney General's office announced that former attorney June Kim and lawyer Ann L. Clark will investigate into sexual harassment claims made against Cuomo. As we said earlier, a week after the announcement, Biden said he'll continue to work with Cuomo and to wait for the investigation results. Note here, he didn't mention the nursing home scandal. Same with Pelosi. What about Kamala Harris? She just walked away when a reporter asked her about comments on Cuomo. Do you see the problem here? Those folks are avoiding mentioning the nursing home cover-up. No real investigation on anyone's radar. And the mainstream media is washing the public with Cuomo's sexual misconduct, which has successfully shifted the public's attention away from the nursing home deaths, the real problem. Remember, we mentioned in our earlier show how Pelosi distracts people's attention with the Meghan and Harry drama. Well, this is the same tactic. Cuomo's April 10th, 2020 order placed infected patients into more than 7,000 group homes, similar to his nursing home policy. Cuomo's group home order resulted in 6,382 disabled residents and 10,311 workers contracting COVID-19. Why hadn't the mainstream media reported this? In those group homes, numerous employees said that no facilities exist to separate the sick residents who mingle with other members of the household and staff using the same washroom, living room, and kitchen. Those same employees said they had texting networks of colleagues throughout the agency and no one wanted to work in a COVID-19 infected home. They also claimed that they and their co-workers were tricked and threatened into doing so. Last July, Cuomo's office initially reported 6,432 nursing home patients died during the pandemic. But according to a news article by the Washington Examiner, the correct death toll might be 15,000. If this is true, Andrew Cuomo downplayed the death number by more than 50%. Have enough New Yorkers been informed of Cuomo's death data cover-up? For people who missed the nursing home news when it first came out, when they search for Cuomo later on, all they see are the overwhelming sexual allegations. Now, I'm not saying the sexual allegations are not real. There's an investigation going on right now. But New Yorkers have fallen into the mainstream media's ploy and are unable to distinguish the deeper facts at play. According to Jason Miller, an advisor to Trump, the former president told him he would never grant the Chinese Communist Party a meeting in Anchorage, Alaska. Trump said he would make the CCP officials come over to Washington for the meeting. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan are scheduled to meet with CCP's top diplomats, Yang Jiechi and Wang Yi, this Thursday in Anchorage, Alaska. Alaska is geographically midway point between the continental United States and China.
The fact that Joe Biden is having his team meet in Anchorage and not in Washington shows that he's already trying to be deferential to the Chinese. He's already capitulating to the Chinese.
Critics see it as a weak move of the Biden administration to choose Anchorage as the meeting location. Now, the Biden administration is under pressure to act tough on China in their first face-to-face meeting. Today, March 17th, Anthony Blinken says the Chinese Communist regime is using coercion and aggression to systematically erode autonomy in Hong Kong, undercut democracy in Taiwan, abuse human rights in Xinjiang and Tibet, and assert maritime claims in the South China Sea that violates international law. Blinken says they look forward to the opportunity to discuss these concerns with the CCP counterparts in very clear terms. However, Beijing doesn't want Washington to interfere with their red line issues. Earlier, CCP officials said Hong Kong, Taiwan, Xinjiang, and the South China Sea are off the table in the Anchorage meeting. The Biden administration and the CCP continue to diverge in their expectations of the coming meeting tomorrow. Finally, we want to give everybody an update on My Pillow Mike Lindell's new social media platform. In an exclusive interview with NTD last Sunday, Lindell said after 4 years in the making, the new platform is going to be out in 10 to 14 days. The format of the new platform is in combination of YouTube and Twitter, but of course, without the censorship on free speech.
Yeah, it's YouTube and Twitter kind of combined. There's nothing like it out there, but for the first time ever, we're going to have all the people that are getting canceled out by YouTube and Twitter. They're going to have a safe place. We won't have to walk on eggshells anymore. Journalists can actually go out and invite guests on and speak the truth. So I'm really looking forward to it. And
Lindell also ensured the new platform is going to be scalable and secure.
The thing is now is they have it ready, but I said no. I said I want to make this the most secure platform ever. And so now we're adding even more security. What I mean by not only just having enough of my own servers so you don't have to rely on Amazon or anybody else. I'm very used to scalability, and we are going to be able to handle anything. If I expect 200 million people, I'm going to make it for 500 million people. We will not break, and it will not be compromised in any way.
And that's it for today, my friends. Please like and share, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Check out these playlists right here for more eye-opening content. You can also follow me on Gab, Parler, and Telegram. Don't forget, please sign up to our email list so that we can stay in contact with each other. I want to thank you all, and I'll see you next time.